Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 creepy moments on TV. So we all watch TV and sometimes it's a little bland, but sometimes things slip through the cracks and some creepy stuff can get on air. So if you're ready to get scared, then let's get going. But first, press the subscribe button and the bell icon too to never miss a video. Coming in at number 10, we have creepy game show host. So this first one isn't so much scary as it is just plain weird and creepy. Back in the 1980s in Canada, there was a game show called Just Like Mom. The format was a kid and their mum would try and match each other's answers on questions and see how alike they were. Well, the show was hosted by a guy named Fergie Ulver. Now this all may seem pretty normal, but Fergie, the host, had an odd habit of kissing all the kids who were on the show. He would trick the kids into kissing him and it all seemed very strange. Now, not all of the clips of the show are saved as this was a while ago and the show wasn't all that popular. But 4 clips featuring 4 different girls called Leanne, Allison, Tracy, and Stephanie went viral recently online.
I call you Lori. How could I miss? Oh, it's very easy. You're both very pretty. And you have green eyes. Are they? They're not blue. Now, don't tell me that. Look at me a little closer. They're green. I fooled you. I fooled you. Do you talk about getting married and having a family and things like that? No. You don't? What do you do when you're 11 years old for a date? Where do you go? What are some things you do?
We just walk home from school with each other.
Oh, you walk home from school with each other.
I'm sure seeing this guy's very creepy and I have no idea why this guy wasn't kicked off the show. No, I don't know where this guy is today, but some people say his daughter is still on TV. According to some forums, his daughter is on a tele-shopping show and she works with this man. Remember him?
Your kiss, that is good! Whoa! That one's got it! Whoa!
Now, I'm not sure if that's true or if it actually is his daughter, but a lot of people seem to say it is. But do you think Fergie Ulver was just having fun, or is there something more creepy going on that TV show?
Like a young lady who likes to give lots of hugs and kisses out, do you? Hey? Hey?
Not really.
Not really. Not really. Can I have a hug and a kiss? I can't have one? Even if I say and whisper in your ear that Allison, you're gonna win the show, I still can't have a hug and a kiss? Well, I guess you can't win the show then. If I don't get a hug and a kiss. Yeah, you hear that? Yeah, you hear that? That's a good answer. Oh, you missed.
Next up is Big Brother. We all know that Big Brother is a weird show. The idea of putting a bunch of strangers in a house is crazy and to some scary, because you don't even really know who you're living with. Well, for the housemates of Big Brother 2 in 2012, they found that out the hard way. One night, Justin, who was a bartender from New Jersey, was talking to a girl named Krista in the house. They'd been drinking and then Justin started to kiss her, but Krista said she didn't want to kiss him. He then grabbed a shovel and said, "Would you be mad if I hit you on the head with this?"
Stay right there. Stay right there.
Why?
Would you get mad if I cracked you over the head with this?
Your mama would though.
I'm
the first girl that don't like.
But then things got even more weird when he grabs a kitchen knife and says, "Would you be mad if I killed you?" She was drunk, so she didn't pay much attention, but the producers had had enough, so they told Justin to come into the diary room to talk to a psychologist. He was then kicked off the show, but the scariest thing is what they found out afterwards. It turns out Justin had a criminal record of violence, and the producers hadn't checked his background well enough.
Please go to the diary room.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We got problems. We got problems.
Next up, his secret crush goes wrong. So the story behind this one takes place on a 1995 episode of the Jenny Jones Show. Jenny Jones Show is kind of like the Wendy Williams Show, and on it there's a section where people reveal their secret crush. One day, Scott and his friend who was a girl was on. Scott and his female friend were both friends with a man named Jonathan Schmitz, who was backstage. Jenny Jones then brought Jonathan on and acted like his and Scott's female friend was his secret admirer. But then it was revealed that Scott is actually gay and was into Jonathan.
Now, which of these ways would you choose to reveal your secret crush on someone? A, would you write that person a letter? B, would you tell the person in private in case he rejects you? Or C, would you tell that person that you're gay and you hope he is on national television? I want you now to meet Donna and and Scott. Now, Donna has been helping Scott. Can you tell us what your status is? Are you involved with anybody, or?
No, but I am definitely heterosexual, I guess you could say.
He'd been engaged to a woman for...
Then things got a little weird when they were talking about fantasies that Scott had about Jonathan, but it seemed all like fun and games and people just found it funny. Well, that was until 2 weeks after the show aired and Jonathan came to Scott's house and shot him with a shotgun. Scott passed away, and the reason Jonathan did this was because he was embarrassed about being on the show, as he said it ruined his life. This was because many people thought he was gay and made fun of him, because remember, this was back when being gay wasn't as accepted. This is a very sad story, and Jenny Jones even had to go to court over this and said they would never air the episode again.
Home, and he sees a note written by Scott that if you really want to get it off, I'm the only one who has the right tool. Jonathan sees this, and I think the bomb is really going off at that point.
Next up is Disappearing Woman. So this is a clip from a TV interview on Danish TV. It was on the channel Danish TV2 and was taken at an airport. Now the man is being interviewed and it all seems normal.
Ikke at få trænet 2 gange inden vi skal spille den næste kamp, det kan godt irritere mig lidt, at vi måske må nøjes med en enkelt. Nu ser vi på dem i løbet af aften, skal de ikke træne, og så ser vi hvor meget de kan i morgen. Og eventuelt så vil vi lægge en træning ind lørdag.
But did you see what was wrong with the video? I'll play it again, so see if you spot it.
Måske ikke at få trænet 2 gange inden vi skal spille den næste kamp, det kan godt irritere mig lidt, at vi måske må nøjes med en enkelt. Nu ser vi på dem i løbet af aften, skal de ikke træne, og så ser vi hvor meget de kan i morgen. Og eventuelt så vil vi lægge en træning ind lørdag.
Okay, if you didn't see it, then this blonde woman in the video literally seems to disappear. 1 second she's there and the next she's not, and nobody has any idea about how this happened. So far the woman hasn't come forward despite this happening a few years ago, and people don't know anything about it. Some say she can teleport, but then why would she be at an airport if she could just teleport to anywhere in the world? And others say that she's a time traveler or has some kind of superpower which allows her to do this. But what do you think?
Måske ikke at få trænet 2 gange inden vi skal spille den næste kamp, det kan godt irritere mig lidt, at vi måske må nøjes med en enkelt. Nu ser vi på dem i løbet af aften, skal de ikke træne, og så ser vi hvor meget de kan i morgen. Og eventuelt så vil vi lægge en træning ind
Next up is Serial Killer on a Dating Show. Now we all know that on blind date shows you never know what you're gonna get. Well, there's nothing that proves that more than in one episode of The Dating Game in 1978. The Dating Game was a show which had a few guys behind a wall and a woman would ask them questions. Then at the end, the woman would choose who to go out with based on the guy's answers to the questions. Well, a serial killer named Rodney Alcala went on the show and won the date with the girl who was on it. People didn't know he was a serial killer at the time, but after it was found out, his answers suddenly sounded super creepy on the show.
We're gonna have a great time together, Cheryl. Okay, yes.
What's your best time?
The best time is at night, nighttime.
Why do you say that?
Because that's the only time there is.
The only time? What's wrong with morning, afternoon?
Well, they're okay, but nighttime's when it really gets good. Then you're really ready.
Luckily, this girl decided not to go on the date with Rodney after they met face to face because she said it was too weird. Well, that judgment saved her life because Rodney took the lives of over 130 girls. He would often pretend to want to date them and then end up murdering them, so this girl on the game show got off really easy. But how mad would you be if a dating show literally set you up with one of America's worst serial killers ever?
I am serving you for dinner.
Oh.
What are you called and what do you look like?
I'm called the banana, and I look really good.
Well, I like bananas, so I'll take one.
Number 1. That's your number 1. All right. Say hello to Rodney Alcala. Rodney, come on and say hello. Congratulations, Rod. You did it with a 1 answer.
Next up is UFO Newsflash. Some of us might believe in aliens and UFOs, but a lot of people don't. And some laugh when people think they're real because they think it's a load of made up nonsense. Well, one man named Gary Stolman was convinced the CIA had been covering up aliens and nobody wanted to listen to him. So he wrote into his local news station called KNBC News asking to come in and see the news live. They let him, but that turned out to be a big mistake. He took a fake gun along and as they were live on air, he pulled it out. He then demanded that a news anchor named David Horowitz read out his story about the CIA and aliens. The gun was just a BB gun, but of course David didn't know that, but amazingly he kept his cool. He then got Gary to put his gun down and then he was arrested. Of course David was never actually in danger, but he easily could have been, and I guess that's why there's better security now.
You know, one of the nicest things about shopping by mail order... Pardon me? What is it? Let me see what it says. All right. All right, well, let me read this. Folks, we have shown on the set who's standing here and would like me to read this copy which you just handed to me. You want to tell me your name or not? What is it? And Gary, where are you from?
David, very cool there. At that point, news producer Nancy Valenta ordered us off the air, but we all pretended that we were still broadcasting for the entire rambling, incoherent statement, and this is how it ended. Off the air, viewers did not see this.
Involved. There is no way I can harm anyone with a SUV gun.
Okay.
Next up is news report goes wrong. Now this is yet another news report that went wrong, and it just goes to show that when you're live on TV, literally anything can happen. In 2016, a KTLA news reporter named Mary McDade was covering a story about David Bowie's star on the Walk of Fame. So she was standing on the Hollywood Boulevard, and in the background you can see a man in a grey sweater smiling at her. Now you may think this all seems pretty normal until things turn wild. The man in the sweater then runs up behind her and lunges at her.
And Rick and Cher, you know, he was known for breaking down barriers.
The camera pulls away and the crew step in to get him off Mary. Then the man ran away down the Hollywood Boulevard, which was also caught live on the news. Now I have no idea why anyone would try and commit a crime when they knew they were being filmed for TV, so maybe this guy was crazy. But luckily Mary was fine and even posted a photo of her and the LAPD after this happened as they came to check everything was alright. But as far as I can tell, and I looked into this, the man has not been found and we don't know why he did what he did.
Breaking down barriers and tonight.
Next up is lying psychic. Now this one is not only creepy and sad, it actually might get you pretty angry too. So some people believe in psychics and others say they're simply trying to scam vulnerable people to get rich and famous. One of the most famous and most hated psychics was called Sylvia Brown. This was because she charged so much money for her to do a reading on you, but she messed up a bunch of times. A lot of you will probably remember her if you're a little older. Well, one day a couple came to see Sylvia and said their daughter died when she was 17. They then asked how she passed away and Sylvia said she was shot. But the parents then said she was in her room and collapsed. So Sylvia spoke way too soon and basically exposed herself as a fraud.
My name is wife Kathy. You had a question for Sylvia about your daughter Michelle?
My daughter Michelle was 17 years old. She'll be gone 5 years, the 21st of this year. Sylvia, I don't know how she died. Please, if you can, how did she die?
She was shot. Circumstances around her death?
She just collapsed in her room.
I don't know, but something looks like it hit the chest. Because it looks like a combustion.
They found nothing on the autopsy.
I don't care,
Nothing.
but it looks like something hit her in the chest.
And then she tried to undo what she said and backtrack a little, but it didn't work and actually made her look even worse.
They did an autopsy, they did drugs, you know, they do whatever they do. It's just she was a healthy child and
she was in her.
just fell out in her room.
Just
went
fell
out.
like a golf club's fall or whatever.
I know, just went down.
Yeah.
I don't know, but there was something that hit her in the chest.
Next up is wrestler malfunction. Now this one is very sad, and if you're an old WWE fan then you may have seen this live. In 1999 at a WWF live pay-per-view event called Over the Edge, a wrestler named Owen Hart was supposed to enter in a dramatic way. They wanted him to fly into the ring, so they hooked a harness to him so he could glide down from above into the ring. However, a malfunction caused the harness to break, and Owen fell 78 feet from a rafter of the Kemper Arena in Kansas City. The video of him falling was cut just before it happened, as there was a delay. They then cut to the commentators and the shocked fans, and they said Owen had passed away. It's since gone down as the worst moment in WWF WWE history, and Owen is still often paid tribute by wrestlers as kissing game show host. So we've already seen the creepy kissing of Fergie Olver in the show Just Like Mom. Well, it turns out he wasn't the only game show host of that era who seemed to like smooching his contestants. A few years back, a few old recorded episodes of a show called Family Feud, which is still going today, went viral. The show used to be hosted by a guy named Richard Dawson. Well, he earned the nickname the Kissing Bandit on the show because he would try and kiss every female contestant. The producers tried to get him to stop doing this so many times, but he wouldn't. He said he would kiss the women for good luck, but one time he even admitted to being turned on by a kiss.
Okay, don't get a shot.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello. How you doing?
Fine.
What was you saying?
Stereo.
All right, stereo. I couldn't live without mine.
And that is far from the only time Richard let everyone know he was the kissing bandit.
I love you.
We must get on with the game.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you honestly, we've been on the air, I think, a year and a half. It's the first time on those introductions I've ever gotten aroused. Now, no, I'm leveling with you. That's the most passionate kissing. I usually kiss for luck, but I got involved a couple of times.
Check out the poll in the top right corner and vote for the creepiest moment on TV. And be sure to check out my second channel for something a little less creepy. There'll be a link for that channel on screen in a moment, so click it to check it out. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.